today's episode, I speak with Andrew Panov. Andrew is an experienced martial artist from the Shaolin Kung Fu system. Andrew and I talk a little bit about a lot of things, and in particular we touch on how faith has interacted with the training and the martial arts experience. For more information, check out the links below, and please feel free to comment or send me an email. Well, Andrew, thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
I've really been interested in your martial arts professional experience for some time, and I hope you can share with me what your training history has been and what your education experience has been like up to date.
Yeah, okay. I originally started training in 1987, which is about 33 years from now. I fell into it because I had a bad injury. I hurt my back and I couldn't walk. I remember at the time it was quite harsh because I was a pretty active person and I couldn't move. I was walking like step by step. And imagine, as a young teenager, it was quite demoralizing. So then and there I decided I wanted to strengthen my back and I wanted to, start exercising in martial arts. And I thought that would be a good way to strengthen the body. What I did find, it also strengthened the mind, and I'll get back to that later. I did Taekwondo for about 6 years. I enjoyed my time thoroughly there. I then found out that it had shortcomings the hard way. I had a friend who did kickboxing, and I jumped in the ring, and what the kickboxer did was he just belted my legs, so I couldn't use them. And once my legs were hurt, my arms were rendered useless because I couldn't really use my arms, and I copped a hiding.
Yeah.
which was a lesson. Mm-hmm. And to me, I actually realised then and there that I needed to start working on my hands. So I did kickboxing for about 2 years. Enjoyed my time there. And then from there what happened was that in my heart, really, I always loved Shaolin, which is a Kung Fu style from China. And so I did various other styles of Kung Fu, which I enjoyed, but I still had a void in, personally to me, I still had a void. So therefore, I did Kung Fu style, did some Tai Chi. And then finally what happened was that I found an authentic Shaolin master in the year 2000. And since then, I've been training with him ever since, and I've enjoyed my time thoroughly with him.
When you were injured, was it injury as a result of an accident, or was it as a result of, were you hurt in a fight?
Yeah. I'd like to say I was hurt in a fight, but it wasn't. No, I got a Bruce Lee story. No, I was an aspiring cricket player. I was a fast bowler, and I had plans. I wanted to play for Australia like every kid. I probably, looking back in hindsight, I had the ability to maybe make New South Wales. And I was a fast bowler, and I hurt my back in several places, and it was to the point where I couldn't walk. So I remember the time that the specialist said, play cricket and end up maybe in a wheelchair or give it up. And so I had to give up the game that I loved. And that's when I went into martial arts, and here I am later, 33 years later.
So why weren't you the typical young man who thought, no, this doctor doesn't know what he's talking about, I'm just going to continue playing anyway? What got into your head that said, oh, maybe I should listen to him?
The pain. I was in a lot of pain, and I couldn't even put on a pair of trousers. That's how bad I was. It was like I was shuffling like a 90-year-old man. So to me, I think that was the third time it happened. So the first time it was severe, I recovered. The second time it was probably a little worse, and I recovered and I started playing again. And in hindsight, if maybe my parents were educated and I had good physio and good rehab, maybe I would have got back and stronger. But the injury never really healed. And the third time was when I said, look, I can't do this anymore.
When you found your teacher in 2000, what was it that made you say, this is the teacher for me?
Well, what happened was that before I met him, and mind you, it was 2000. I've already had 13 years training, and I studied, quite intensely. And I went around to various different schools. I'm not going to name schools. I'm not. That's not my thing. And I realised that I knew more than he did, the teacher. So I went in. I asked him a few questions. I looked at the class. I looked at his ability, and then I said to myself, I know more than him. So, and respectfully, because I'm not that type of person, I said, thank you very much for your time, and I left. So this is when I met my current teacher. I realised, well, he's a real Shaolin disciple, and he knows so much more than I do, and I want to tap into what he knows. And that's the reason why I stayed with him.
What was it about Shaolin that drew you to it, irrespective of the teacher?
You remember Jet Li's Shaolin movie?
Which one?
The first one.
Shaolin, okay, yeah.
He's really young. He's just really young, probably about 19. And I think there's 3. But back then, I liked Shaolin. I like the style. It's like anything. It's like some people like Holden, some people like Force. Ultimately, really, the car's going to get you to the end if you've got a reliable car. And the way I look at it is that if we're all looking up towards a mountain and we're all to the peak, our goal is very similar. Whether you want to do karate or tai chi or Shaolin, I personally like traditional martial arts because I find that there's a lot of respect and discipline that goes with it. I don't like the sport version, so I wanted a traditional style, and that's something that works too. So to me, Shaolin best suit me, and that's the reason why. And that void that I told you earlier, filled that void. So that's the reason why I chose Shaolin. It was comfortable with me. I enjoyed, training in that system. I enjoyed the different various types of forms that we do. We do, forms, we do application, we do, hard qigong, soft qigong, we do conditioning, there's weight training. So to me, and it was a whole range of things that drew me to that style.
Tell me more about the void that you mentioned before. What if that void was left unchecked, what do you think it would have done to you?
Well, thank God that, martial arts came into my life at that particular time. Because what happened was that I did get, I'm not proud about it, but I did get involved with the wrong type of crowd, and I was going the wrong way for a little while. And if I didn't get back on track, maybe I'd be injured, or worst case scenario, I might be dead. And so martial arts, and this is a great tool for the youth of today, it gives us, it's a tool that gives, especially today you can see the morality of our society, especially our youth, is dropping dramatically at a big rate. So what martial arts did for me at the time then, and still can do the same thing today, was it gave me some direction and some discipline. I remember my first Taekwondo instructor, and boy was he hard. You do something, I say, you start screaming and yelling, like, whoa, what did I do now? So what happened was when I started taking my training seriously, I said to myself, hang on a second, I don't want to hang out with those guys anymore. And hang on a second, I don't want to drink anymore. So that was the beginning of filling the void. So martial arts was a tool that was great for me to give me some sort of direction to start filling that void in.
So it's fair to say then that before martial arts came along, or before Shaolin came along, you were already willing to make that change.
Oh, if everyone's truly honest with themselves, and everyone's seeking something, So yeah, I was ready for it at the time.
How did your family react to you hanging around with the wrong crowd? What was it that? What did you think that they influenced your decision to join a particular type of martial arts system, or were they just concerned for your well-being and without knowledge on what to do for you to help you?
Yeah, well, for starters, I never had a father. So my father wouldn't know where I was because my parents separated. My mother, at the time, in hindsight, did the best that she could with what she knew. Mm-hmm. It was hard for her to control a young, rebellious man. So, And, to this day, I'm thankful for, her. And, I appreciate her now more than ever. Now that the roles have come full circle, I'm the parent, and, I dearly love and care for my children. And if they were doing the same thing I was doing, it would seriously break my heart. So, so that's sort of full circle. So I've come full circle. I can see where she would have been. So, but she did the best that she could at the time, and to this day, I genuinely care and love my mother more than anything.
Yeah, it's true that the mother has a special place in all of us, and I was told once by someone who said to me that when the mother leaves the family, perhaps she'd die or that the parents would separate, there is no more family. It's as if the mother is the glue that holds everyone together.
Yeah.
So I can definitely appreciate that. Tell me, with your training to date, what do you think made you want to develop more beyond what you did when you first started? Although you said to us before that you really love training, you really love Shaolin, what has made you want to become better and better at it?
My Sifu, told me a little story when I first started. It's called the floor-to-ceiling theory. And I think his Sifu told him and so forth. And where it is that he said that we all start at the floor, and ultimate mastery in martial arts is the ceiling. And if you get to the ceiling, you've attained perfection for that art. And he said to me, and I looked at him, and his ability was way up here, and he said, my teacher is just past the skirting boards. And you reach your ultimate mastery is when you're about to go and pass on. So to me, I'm always trying to, get better in something day in, day out. It's a hunger that I have because I enjoy training so much. So to me, if his teacher's at the skirting boards, then my teacher said he's near the floor, then I'm still below the floor. I still got a long way to go till I get to the floor. That way I'm always hungry. The day that you feel like you're the best, or you've attained something, or let's put it in modern day terms, they've got their belt, I'm the greatest in the world, I'm the best, this is it. As soon as you get that mindset, you stop learning. So to me, I'm forever learning. And the beautiful thing about traditional martial arts is that even when we get into an older age, we've got so much more we can go into. The mind gets stronger, the Tai Chi aspect of Shaolin that we can do. So all things being good, that we can keep on training for years and years and years to come. Yeah, it's exciting.
Do you feel that there is a Andrew Panov way of doing Shaolin?
Well, what I did was that obviously there's some sort of interpretation has to go behind the style. For instance, with me, if you look at the traditional Tan Toi, it's very step by step, and I think it's a little bit rigid. Like if you go onto YouTube now and type in Tan Toi, you will see they're doing their 10 or 12 line forms. To me, the word Tan Toi translated means springy legs. So I feel that the form has to be springy. So the way I teach it is very different to everything that I've seen.
Now let's say, for example, you were to travel overseas and present what you know to someone more senior than you. Do you feel that they would look at you and say, well, that's not the way it was done 50 years ago, 400 years ago, 800 years ago?
Well, this is the thing. Sometimes, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But because the word means springy legs, Tan Toi means springy legs, I feel that somewhere along the line, that some teacher has passed on to a student, who's passed on a teacher to student, has tried to simplify it for a lower level person, and has made it stop-start and the rigidity that goes in it. So I feel that the name itself explains what the form should be. So personally, I feel that I'm on the right path in that particular area, which means springy. So I make the form flow, especially from the legs. And if you understand the movement, the energy, actually, if you make it rigid, there's a point where, like a linkage in a chain for a bike. If I have a chain and it's connected, then the bike rolls. As soon as there's a break, the bike is rendered useless. It just stops. So stop, start, stop, start. I feel like that's the analogy of the broken chain, where I'm trying to keep it flowing. So therefore, the energy is coming from the feet and going up to the hands from the feet, and it's always flowing. The linkage is never broken. So that's what I feel like I'm doing, and that's what I'm trying to pass on to my students, which in turn, to me personally, helps the higher level forms, because to me, flow is important, because flow is living, it's real. If I look at a tree and I understand if it goes with the wind, it flows, it's flowing. But if the tree is dead, it's stiff and there's no life in it, it just breaks off. It's the same sort of thing. So to me, I'm living real, I want to flow, it's about life, and I can move and I can adapt to movements. And that's what I feel like I'm trying to teach to my students. Yeah.
Looking around the room, we can definitely tell that fitness is an important part of your life. Do you think that fitness is a required, what's the word I'm looking for, perhaps a requirement for students to build on as they're training, or do you feel that fitness is the responsibility of students irrespective of whatever level they're at?
Yeah, look, as a person, a general public, I think the National Heart Foundation recommends 30 minutes 3 times a week. And so if you're generally healthier, you can do more things. You can have a generally better quality of life. To me, as a martial artist, fitness is really important. It's vital, because no cardio, no strength. And I learned it the hard way. I remember years and years of training, thinking that this is where the mind aspect comes in as well. I'm not sure if you know, I did 6 years of security. So how I know my martial arts works is I have 6 years of practical experience on the street, dealing with people that want to take off my head. Anyway, cut long story short, I'm wrestling a guy, I'm working at Star City, I'm wrestling a guy from the main gaming floor to the street, which probably took about 5 minutes, not even. So I'm getting wrestling, I'm struggling, putting everything into it. This guy's really strong and wrestling. I get to the street, I let him go, and I'm like, I'm tired. And I'm like, all these years of training and I'm tired, are you serious? What am I doing? And I'm thinking in my head, if he comes back at me, I don't know what I can do. And he didn't. But yeah, so it comes back to no cardio, no strength. So, I want to have the cardio to go one more. If he comes back, I've got another round. If he comes back, I've got another round. So to me, doing resistance, based training is important, because you need to have, some stability, because if you don't have that resistance training there, then you can't hold structure. You've got to have some strength, because even like, I know the technique's important, but you've got to hold some sort of form of structure. And then the cardio is a backup. You got to go deep sometimes. And if you're in that position where I was initially, and I'm fatigued, that's not a good place to be, because once you're fatigued, you're in a whole lot of trouble. So to me, that's the one that I learned from the hard way, is that I need to be able to, be as fit as I can be and as strong as I'll be, to complement the style that I do.
While you were working as a security guard at the casino, do you feel that the laws that were governing your job really inhibited what you could have done to protect yourself if the situation ever arose?
Yeah, there's only so much you can do. I mean, it's like putting some handcuffs around my hands and saying, go. That's what I felt. But in saying that, they, had some training that they did, and they just stuck with protocol. So because I worked for Star City, I just did what they wanted me to do. So they wanted me to react a certain way, I did that. I never went beyond what my employees asked me to do. So to me, obviously there's so much more you can do, but that's fine, it's not a problem. I just did what they wanted me to do, and I just kept within the boundaries.
So let's assume that same scenario was in a different environment and you weren't governed by the requirements of your job. How would you have de-escalated, for example, someone who's in your face and really irate? What does it take for you to walk away?
I always tell all my students, the brain is the most important self-defense tool you have. So, in security, for instance, you haven't got a choice. That person there is doing the wrong thing. And now I have been told to talk to him and get him off the premises. But to me, there aren't any egos to me. And if you have any good teacher, they will tell you that. So to me, I just will turn the other cheek and walk away. I haven't got a problem with that. And if I have to, I will talk to them and just apologise. I haven't got an ego, mate. I'm sorry, there seems to be a bit of a misunderstanding. And I can do it that way. I can do it in a pacifying way. Or if I can say, mate, I'm sorry. That way is just antagonising the situation and making it worse. So really, ultimately, when it comes down to 99% of the times, I can avoid trouble just by having calming body language and, like you just said, words. In saying that, if it gets any further, then pain compliance. I don't want to hurt anybody. Just put them in a position where they're actually in a bit of pain, whether it's a wrist lock or an elbow or a shoulder, and just say, look, mate, let's just calm down, let it go, let you go, let's go our own ways. We're going to be both. If I walk away not hurt and he walks away not hurt, we're both winners. And that's what we want, ultimately. I don't want to hurt anybody. Yeah. You said
Turn the other cheek. That's a very Christian thing to say. How has your faith impacted on your training, or rather, how has your training impacted on your faith?
Well, I tell everybody, I keep it simple because, people come to me, and to me, knowing the term sifu means teacher or master in training, sifu, teacher. There's a big responsibility here. Martial arts is, like I said earlier, is a tool that I believe it helps people become better. And, as a Christian, if you're an ambassador for Christ, how could I, go out and have profanity coming out of my mouth or causing harm, or even to the point where, I know it's going out and getting drunk and doing some moral things that we don't want to talk about, but, moral things. To me, it's a thing that I take serious. And because I am a moral model, I tell people there's the physical, there's the mental, and the spiritual. There's 3 parts to you. I see one, but there's 3. The body, the mind, and the soul. Kung Fu will stimulate and exercise the body and mind. Your spiritual journey is obviously your free will you choose. It needs to your spirit needs to be stimulated and content at the same time. And if you're not, you're probably are going to go in life and have some difficulties.
Do you feel there's a difference between spirituality and the spirit when it comes to training?
You can go into pretty deep if you want to. And I know some martial arts styles do. At my school, I keep it really simple. We concentrate on physical and mental, and your spiritual journey is your thing. Unless they personally come up and ask me some questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. But otherwise, I keep that completely separate, and that's their journey and what they choose to do.
Do you feel that martial arts teachers, especially within an environment that I would call insulated, like Australia, do have a moral obligation towards their students to be morally upright?
Absolutely.
What do you think are the pitfalls that a student may face if they realise that their teacher isn't?
Look, if the person is, for instance, I'll give you an example. Let's just say, as a young man, that void that we spoke about earlier, and say they get into a particular style and they start to enjoy it dramatically or in a great way, and that man that they look up to falls, you become disheartened. And the truth is, there's many teachers out there, many teachers out there have done that to their students. I've got a student training review today that says that his past master had an affair with one of his students, and that's the reason why he's here. Like, really? How does that work? You know, you got to keep it professional. So he could have gone the wrong. It actually initially angered him. So, you know, he could get disheartened, he could get angry. If he's young, that might feed aggression. This is all a joke. No, it's not. This is serious. People's lives and their futures are important. So therefore, I need to be walking circumspectly. I need to be, you know, I understand that I can influence people in a positive way, and I can influence people in a negative way. And I don't want to be someone else's stumbling block. I don't want to be, you know, if I, you know, pass on and I have to give an account for my life. Imagine for all the things I did wrong, right? I have to give an account for, okay? And imagine if I was someone else's stumbling block and they did wrong, so indirectly I caused them to do what they did. I have to give an account for that as well. I don't want to, I've got enough on my plate as it is. So yeah, so.
Do you feel that martial arts in general, especially to those who are very new to it, see it as a moral car wash, so to speak? They come looking for something, but only at a superficial level?
You know, this is the thing with students, you know, some people come because their friend is there. Some people come to train because they just want to get fit. Some people come because they want to really learn how to protect themselves. Some people come because, you know, they figure that, hang on a second, I want to become a master in this style. So everyone has different agendas. So therefore, you know, to me, I'm not here to, you know, force, you know, what I think should be, you know, the reason why they're training. If they're in here and they're getting fit, then awesome. And if they're in here wanting to learn to protect themselves, awesome. I had a lady that one of the reasons why she came was that she was at a railway station. And this is for women here. When I first started teaching martial arts, I thought, you know, you're defending yourself against another man. Little did I was wrong. A bunch of women saw her and said, "What are you looking at?" And she said nothing, and they beat the daylights out of her. So she said a group of youth came and they bashed her. So that's why I'm here. I'm learning how to protect myself. I don't want to be in a position where I'm vulnerable and helpless. Because think about this, you know, honestly, if I did everything I could to defend myself, I could live with that. That's okay, because I did everything I could to stop them. But if I was in a position where I felt helpless and I just and they did what they did, that'll be hard mentally to cope with, you know, in life. That would be. So that's just my opinion.
What do you say to people who would inadvertently, and again without their own direct control, would actually take a life during the course of defending themselves? What do you say to someone who would pass judgment on that person? Do you think that taking the life in the course of self-defense or self-protection is okay?
Well, that's a big question, because you've got to adhere to the laws of the land. I believe a true master is able to defend themselves without too much damage to the person that's trying to hurt them. In other words, I can control my energy. When I get someone into a wrist lock or a shoulder lock, I can actually feel at what point their shoulder is starting to get tight, and at what point I'm going to dislocate their arm or their shoulder. So, you know, ultimately what it comes down to, you really can't judge anyone for doing that. You could sympathise with them because they've got to deal with taking someone's life. But if, for instance, you know, if you compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges, and let's keep it personal. If you're out there and you're watching, if you're a man, or let's say if you have a daughter, and your daughter was being attacked physically, and she was about to be hurt, I'm not going to go into detail, you know what I'm talking about, in a really bad way, and she took the guy's life to defend herself, what would you think of that? Is that okay? As a father, would you say, and as a judge of the law of the land, you'd go, well, she did what she could to get out of the situation, and unfortunately, the byproduct was this. So I don't know, but I mean, you got to compare each case as it comes, and you got to see what was the scenario, what was the situation, and judge it from there. That's what I reckon.
So, how do you feel that your training has affected other areas of your life? For example, the relationships you've got with your family, your hobbies, anything, or how has it interacted with everything else in your life?
So my training is martial arts and my hobby is martial arts.
Okay. Oh, well, lucky you. One of the lucky ones.
Yeah. So that's what. But in regards to other parts of my life, because you remember what I mentioned earlier. Direction and discipline is important, because a double-minded person is unstable in all their ways. So in other words, let's just say if someone is nor here nor there in say a relationship, it's never going to work. You've got to commit 100%, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Everything got to commit. That's why we have a high breakup rate. The guy or the girl is with their partner or wife, and they're looking at everything that walks past them. Well, they're there physically, but they're not there mentally. So what martial arts has done for me has given me the discipline and direction to do that and to do that thing to the best of my ability. And that's important, because if you look at today, very few people have that. And that's why martial arts is a fantastic, and I'm telling you, it's a fantastic tool to help people get their life on track and give them that direction. It's important. And it's just, you've got to get people to understand it and get educated in it. And once they get educated in it, they will benefit from it. But, it's just an area of, today we've got people that are just uneducated on what we are trying to achieve in teaching a traditional style of martial arts.
A lot of time parents have asked me, Paul, what do you think is best for my son or daughter? What type of martial arts system do you recommend for my son or daughter? And in all cases, I don't recommend one specific system. I tend to ask a lot of questions like, well, do they like rolling around on the ground? Do they like punching? Do they like kicking? Do they like using a stick? But in the end, I know personally that it all comes back to who I'm actually spending time with on the mat. Would you agree?
Yeah, look, everyone has different goals in what they want to do. So if a child comes in and what you mentioned is awesome, if they say, I want to be able to defend myself on the street, then I don't know, it's going to,
ruffle some feathers?
Yeah. I wouldn't go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because you're rolling around the floor, multiple people. And there was an example on I think it was Facebook or YouTube, I can't remember, it was about 6 months ago I watched it. And there was at a beach, and this massive security guard pinned a guy to the floor. And he's pinning down, he's strong. He's got him, he's easily manhandled him. Well, that guy's girlfriend is a quarter of the size of that security guard, blindsided him and kicked him straight in the head. Knocked him clean out. So to me, that's not a very good art. If you keep it solo, alone for the street, if you're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and there's nothing wrong with it, I've got nothing against it, you'd have to incorporate it with some sort of striking as well.
For the purposes of self-defense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Do you feel that younger people are more impressionable when it comes to learning, say, a popular style, for example, MMA? Do you feel that popularity is the driving factor for what people choose to train in?
They've marketed UFC or MMA brilliant, and the marketing basically goes, it's as real as it gets. And they don't realise that it's not as real as it gets. There's still rules and regulations. So yeah, I mean, the youth of today, obviously they're going to go with the trend is, what's popular, you know, what's the in thing, and yeah, it is the in thing at the moment. But you know, the reality is that you know, nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of good aspects you can take out of it, but you know, there's things that they can't do, which is, you know, I never forget, you know, there was it was a little while ago, it was a match, and some guy got kicked in the groin in the ring, and they got a cup on, and he dropped to the floor. So even you know, one of the main things with traditional martial arts, if it was a girl or a young man who is quite thin, and maybe they're 50, 60 kilos, and the guy's 110, biggest guy I ever saw was 163 kilos. It was like a man mountain. But you know, I used to work in gymnasiums for many years. 110 wasn't abnormal. So if they were, you know, to you know, come up against someone who's of that half their body weight, they could easily overpower them if they were trying to punch him in the body or kick him in the thigh. Where a groin shot would, you know, really do the job. So to me, yeah, obviously there are going to be, you know, trends, but it's what you prefer basically. If I prefer this, then go for that. If you prefer that, I've told many people. They came into my school and they kept talking about other school. I said, what are you doing here? I mean, what are you doing here? You like that school? He goes, yeah. I go, man, go do it. Enjoy it and be good at it. Devote some time to it and devote quality time to it. If you devote quality time to it, you'll be good at it. Any style you do, if you devote quality time to it, you eventually will become good at it.
Just touching on what you mentioned previously about the big bodyguard pinning down the other guy, would you agree that there's certain systems, sciences, arts that are better suited, for example, to one purpose as opposed to other? And in saying that, do you believe that there are some other training opportunities out there which you could call good all-rounders?
I think you know, Bruce Lee was the guy who sort of started it, first one that started it back in the day, where he took a bit of this, took a bit of that, and started some cross training. So he was probably if you want to think about it, the father of you know, mixed martial arts to a degree. So there are styles that are best suited to you know, some things, but ultimately what it comes down to is that you know, you've got to be comfortable with what you do, and you've got to choose something that is well-rounded, that has, you know, some grappling, some striking, you know, and I know that traditionally Shaolin, you know, that's taught to me there isn't that groundwork at all, but I've just you know got ideas and concepts. And it's really brief, because at the end of the day, the reality is if you get knocked to the floor, you've made a mistake. And the primary aim is to get back to your feet as soon as you can. So what do you feel comfortable with? And if it's well-rounded, it's got to be well-rounded. That's the key.
What do you feel makes Shaolin great in the sense that, for example, if I was, say, a 200 kilo overweight guy who'd just come in, would you turn me away and say, sorry, you're too big? Or would you say, hang in there, we can work through something here through the core training and we can get you to where you want to go?
It's the beautiful part about that is that we can start off with some softer things like Tai Chi and do some basic fitness just to get his lifestyle healthier. And once the healthier options start to become, hopefully there's a flow-on effect. And eventually, depending on his abilities, we can go into many different things. So within Shaolin, the beauty of it is that I've got many different things we can go into. And so, you know, I wouldn't turn the person away. I wouldn't turn anyone. If someone's genuinely wanting to learn what I teach, you know, who am I to say, no, you can't do it? Sorry. Obviously, you know, there are some things, you know, like if the guys, you might, you know, as an instructor, you might just want to say you want a medical clearance. But apart from that, let them learn the beauty of Shaolin. Why not?
When you take on a new student, what would you like for your new students?
You know, the thing about that is that, you know, sometimes people can't or don't see the final product. So to me, it's like getting a jigsaw puzzle and putting one piece. I can't see the picture. And sometimes students get a little bit disorientated. They've laid down 4 or 5 pieces and they decide to stop. And I've seen students where I feel like I've gone, oh, I wish I had the talent that he had, you know? And they just don't want to, or mentally they're not as strong. But to me, you know, what I would like is just commitment. Come train, give it a go, lay down that jigsaw piece, lay down, start to see the picture. Once you start seeing the picture and you see the beauty of it, I know that more than likely you're going to continue to be a long-term student.
And is that what you'd like, long-term students?
You know, there's once you've been in the industry for a while, I've been teaching martial arts, or late 90s I started teaching. And when you have a long-term student, there's a special connection. So to me, if a student wants to learn and the teacher wants to teach, something special happens. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
What's the most rewarding part about having a long-term student? Is it that you watch their mindset change, or you watch them physically transform?
Yeah, I've had a lot of students and I've seen them grow. I've seen young boys grow into fine young men, and I've seen young girls grow up into fine young ladies. So to me, you know, it's awesome to see, you know, them becoming a person that's, you know, if anything, you know, you want to keep it simple, good and bad, they become good. And that's awesome. I've done, you know, my part in helping them become a better person. That's a good thing.
Would it be fair to say that if someone comes to learn from you and you realise that, for example, they are a bad seed, do you think that martial arts training would bring out even more of the bad from them? Or do you feel that you have an ability to turn that around? That's a really good question. If you teach a sport version of martial arts, what could be the danger to that is exactly what you said. They've a bad seed and they're learning something that they can use for the detriment of people around them. In other words, they can hurt people. What I've done is that, and I've had a few, I've come across many, I make them train really hard. Why? I break their ego. So in effect, it's like being in the army.
Yeah, I break their ego, and if the ego's broken, now I can build real character in the person.
Do you think breaking ego takes someone to rock bottom?
Yeah, I don't get to rock bottom. I want to break their ego, but not their spirit. There's a fine line. I don't want to break it mentally. I don't want to, because if you break it mentally, it's not a good thing.
What's the difference?
Well, as a teacher, you've got to know. You've got to be able to you know, if you've been teaching for a while, you can see the difference. I want to break their ego, but not their spirit. Because if I break their spirit, then I've got to build that back up again. That's too hard. I break their ego and their cockiness and everything else that goes with it. And once they're there, I go, okay, right. Okay, now you're ready to learn some real kung fu. Let's go.
What are some of the signs that you would look for?
Look, you know, I've had guys that come in and they've got like an edge on them, and you can just see it in their attitude.
They're aggro?
There's an attitude that goes with it. Yeah, mate, yeah, all right, like that. And I'm like, okay, man, no worries. I'm kind, you know, I'm kind. I'm always, you know, but when you come and train, I remember there was a couple of times I was outside. There was a guy, and he was with another guy, and his girlfriend was there. And he was swearing at her, there was profanity, and he was aggressive towards her. And I come out, I go, mate, I'm teaching a class here, what are you doing? He goes, I go, mate, does that really make you a man? I go, mate, to the lady, I go, do you like him talking to you like this? I go, that's not a man. I said, that to me, that shows you're weak. You can't even control what comes out of your mouth. Mate, you're not strong, look at you. You're big, but you're nothing, you're weak. Look at you. I said, mate, you're nothing. Don't think you're all that. Now, what I'll do for you, I said, if you want to come in here and train, I'm going to give you the first week for free. Mate, you want to? Let's go. For free. And you just see that cockiness, because no one's ever spoken like that before, because everyone's like, as big as that. Everyone's like probably bowed at his feet and fed his ego. I just did nothing. He never came in, but at least there's some sort of reality there. But I wanted to help the guy, you know, and I was just being hard, and I don't know if you noticed it, but to be kind. But his mate, it's funny enough, his mate goes, yeah, he's right. Yeah, he's right in what he's saying. And even in that small conversation I had with him, which lasted no more than 10 minutes, I could see his attitude already changing.
Do you feel that men, especially say a young man, someone who's physically superior than others, do you feel that they have a higher standard that they should be living by as opposed to, say, women or children or even the elderly? Do you feel that the role of a man, a gentleman, whoever, a young male, has a deeper responsibility than what a woman does to everyone and for everything?
Yeah, this is I'm old school. So to me, you know, if I see an elderly person that's struggling a bit, and I remember once there was a gentleman and was carrying some heavy boxes, and he looked like he was struggling. I went up to him and said, "Excuse me, sir." I go, "Do you need a hand?" He goes, "Oh, no." I go, "So no worries, I want to help you out," so I grabbed the boxes, and at first you could see he was hesitant. He just thought maybe I was going to mug him or take his items. And I said, "No, sir." And I can't blame you, because you look at today, you know, more than likely, it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like, I think he's going to take my stuff and go. I said, "Sir, no worries, you know, whereabouts is your car?" So he goes over there, and finally I walked with him, and he opened up his boot, I put it in his car, and he goes, "Oh, mate," and he goes, "I'll pay you." I go, "I don't want your money. I just wanted to help you out." He goes, "Oh, you have a voucher." He was just grateful, and he's an older gentleman. He's probably never seen this before in a long time. I go, "No, I want your voucher. Have a good day. There's the box." No. So, you know, everybody, if they're, you know, and my way of thinking is that, you know, that's someone's father. Imagine that was your father. Wouldn't you like someone to help him? Or if that was your mother, wouldn't you like, you know, someone to help them? So, if everyone has a brother or a sister or a mother or a father. So the reality is that if everyone out there, you know, did to others as they would like done to themselves, then everyone would be living in a better place. But unfortunately, you know, we don't live in that world. But, you know, coming to answer that question, I think everyone has a responsibility. Everybody has a responsibility.
So I agree with you. Everyone does have a responsibility, but I'm of the belief that men in particular, especially now, especially in this time of this world, they do have more of a responsibility than ever before. I believe men are the people that hold families together. I believe that they're the ones that are leaders of a family. I believe that men set the standard for families in particular. And I go on about families because I take the stance of the Catholic Church, which is a family is the glue of society. A family is the society. And without strong families, we won't have a strong society. I think that martial arts does play a role in developing better men. I don't think it's a tool that can help every man. I think that martial arts can help men to the point where they realise that it's okay to stand on their own 2 feet, and it's okay to have a voice of reason, and it's okay to speak out even though they may not be liked by the public or society in general for the things that they say. But I think that good training gives that to young men.
It's just a tool. Martial arts is just a tool.
Yeah.
And you know, each individual is responsible for their own spiritual growth. And if you're not, you know, ultimately what it comes down to is that really simply put, and this is the reason why spirituality is important, is that if I was to say to you, this machine put itself together, you'd be like, no, you're a fool. Someone put it together. Okay? So to me, creation didn't just put itself together. It didn't come from nothing. Something put it together. So creation itself bears witness of a creator. And so when you get that way, that's a so you have to have your spiritual fitness, you have to have mental fitness, and you have to have physical fitness.
Do you think training in a good system is an example of creation? Do you think that element comes into training?
Looking as a teacher of martial arts, you can go as deep or as shallow as you want. To me, most people come to me because of the first two, was the physical, and then I've had a lot of people come to me because they've got mental problems. And that's just because, in life, there are I call it the plains. We've got mountain highs and we've got valley lows, right? And the plains is where you want to be in the majority of your life, because if you're always a mountain high, it'd be euphoria would be too much for you to handle. And if you're too far in the valleys, and this is what's happening, is that it plays you mentally. So people go through a real thing called depression. It's a real thing. Some people don't like to talk about it, but it is. So what we want to do is, once we get that direction, we want to get people, exercise gets good endorphins, give them some form of, mental look towards getting to that plane and staying on that plane, because that's where you want to be. So yeah, it's a tool. It's just a tool. You hit it nail on the head. It is for some, it might not be for others. But it's just a tool that we use.
So in closing, Andrew, I want to ask you one question. If you could change the world now, using the skills that you've got, how would you do it?
Wow, it's a big one. I don't think everyone's asked me that.
We're not going to hear on the news that there's a shadowy figure at night running around cleaning up the streets, are we?
I think make it. I think in Korea, I don't know if it is today, that all high school students have to do Taekwondo. Maybe something similar here. Maybe every high school Year 9 student has to go through some sort of self-defense program which focuses on the physical and the mental, and gives them some life learning skills, because life is going to hit them hard and hit them head on, and if you don't know how to deal with it, you're going to crumble and fall. And generally, if you're a good martial artist, you should be mentally tough, especially if you're in a traditional system. Hopefully walking through those troubles, getting out the other side and seeing the sunshine. So yeah, maybe some compulsory New South Wales Board of Education, compulsory martial art courses, and maybe you and I could, head it off. You can take the north and I'll take the west.
Andrew, thank you very much for your time.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.